welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. There has been a lot of conversation in the last couple days after Caitlin Clark received the honor of being Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. With that accolade came an article, and with that article came a lot of controversy and a lot of conversation and a lot of extremes in the whole thing. And I'm going to weigh in again. I did a live, I did a video, I did another video. Here I am again, and I may do more videos. And I'm going to keep it real. I've had to turn off some of the videos that podcasters or I don't know, not everybody calls themselves a podcast, but YouTube channels have put out. I've had to turn some of them off because some people I'm not sure you're being genuine. Some people I'm thinking, I'm not sure you're hearing what you need to hear. And some people, I'm just thinking, I don't even know what you're talking about. So in all honesty, I've had to shut some stuff off. Not everybody, but some of it I've had to turn off because I'm thinking, no, I'm not feeling it. But I'm going to keep it real. You obviously are always welcome to weigh in the comments. I appreciate if you do it respectfully, because this somehow has become a really explosive topic. And I shouldn't even say somehow. It's understandable, I guess, that it's become explosive. One of the extremes in this topic is from people who are saying in comments things like, I don't know why people are talking about this. Can we stop talking about this? Don't talk about this anymore. And I go, are you kidding me? And I say over and over and over again, we are going to talk about it. Caitlin Clark was just named Time's Athlete of the Year. Caitlin Clark, says Forbes, is one of the 100 most powerful women in the world. In the world. Not just in Iowa, not just in Indiana, not just in America, but in the entire world. She has been awarded by Forbes also 30 under 30 in sports. If I'm not talking about the article and the things in the article, I might as well close up shop and say, forget about it. If people who've been covering Caitlin at least since the WNBA season or the NCAA season, entering into the WNBA, if people who've been covering that, if all of a sudden you clicked, I'm clicking, if you watch it on TV, or if you click on your computer and you see the people are covering Caitlin Clark and they're not discussing the issues that are found in that article, then they might as well just pack it up, because any podcaster or person with a video channel who has been covering Caitlin Clark obviously should be covering this also. So the stop it, don't talk about it is just strange. And it's strange because why? Why wouldn't we talk about it? This is what I call extreme. There are people who, for whatever reason, it's like, I don't want to hear anymore about what Caitlin said. I don't want to hear anymore about what I want to bury my head in the sand. If I do this, then she didn't really say it. And I got to go, what's the problem? Is there a fear on your part that Caitlin said something that you didn't want to hear her say because you had an idea of how she thought and how she felt, and now you're hearing that she doesn't necessarily align with that, and you can't just hear it and go, I don't agree with it, or right on, I agree with it. So when people start to say, don't talk about it, I think you have to ask yourself, why not? Or if people vocally criticize what she said, you have a conniption, you have to ask yourself, why? Is she Jesus? No. So she's certainly not above scrutiny, right? I mean, we're not worshiping her. We are fans of hers. I'm still representing Caitlin Clark, but I don't sell out my opinions, my values, or anything else just because it's Caitlin Clark. In the same way that many of you watching right now have had criticisms of Angel Reese, Diana Taurasi, Gino Auriemma, Sue Bird, Asia Wilson, Cheryl Sue. We could go on and on. You don't sell those things out because somebody else is a fan or even because you're a fan. No, we have conversations. We cannot become snowflakes. Seriously. So that's one extreme. If you are like, I don't want to hear this anymore, then you got to ask yourself why. Now, Caitlin Clark did an interview. She's not ashamed of her interview. She had another interview, Maria Taylor, and I'll show some of that. She didn't backtrack on anything she said. So here's the other extreme. The people who are in denial. There are a lot of people out there who are saying, I don't think Caitlin Clark said that. I don't think that's not what she said. No, that is what she said. Why can't you just accept that that's what Caitlin Clark said? And that's what she meant. For whatever reason, in that moment, and maybe for a long time, that's what she meant. See, we think we have people figured out. We think we know these people. Oh, Caitlin Clark would never say, listen, I'm in journalism, and I understand that outlets have a leaning and a bent and an agenda. Every one of them. Time Magazine for show. It's leaning left for sure. Was the article framed in a certain way? Absolutely it was. But did they take her quotes and just put their own words in there and take her words out? No, they wouldn't do that because they don't want a lawsuit. But they do frame it in a certain way. Absolutely. But Caitlin herself has said in that Maria Taylor interview, she thought the article was amazing. She thought she loved it. So for those of you who are of the opinion that no, this is not really Caitlin Clark, this is not what she said, you got to stop. It's what she said. The problem is not with what Caitlin Clark said. The problem is with your ability to accept what she said. So the problem is not with Caitlin, even though I disagree with stuff that she said in the article. I absolutely believe that she is entitled to feel the way she feels. And I am entitled to disagree. I will do so respectfully. Not everyone does. And that's another issue. But she's entitled to it. So again, there are some people who don't even want to talk about it at all. Oh, if I don't talk about it, then it didn't exist. Just please let it go away. Let's talk about pick and roll. This is Adrienne Ross, and this is the Adrienne Ross Show. There's a reason why the tagline is where sports and culture connect. This is sports and it's also culture. And so for those of you who don't want to hear about it, again, ask yourselves why. And for those of you who don't want to believe it, ask yourself why. Homegirl said what she said. She's not 2 years old. She's 22, still very young. And that's another part of this. And we talked about this when I did my live stream about this, the evening that the article came out, the evening after the article came out, later on in the day, I'm trying to say. So you saying, well, she didn't say it. The woman told you she said it. And then she got in another interview and said, I loved what the article said. So we got to stop with that. She's not 2. You're not her grandmother. You're not her daddy. And so you don't have to defend her from every person who has an opinion about what she said. We're not snowflakes, and neither is she, by the way. And she's not above people taking what she said, weighing how they feel about it, and talking about it. Now, here's the other extreme. Well, Caitlin Clark says some comments I don't like. So I'm never watching her again. I find that extreme. Hello, this is where I stand. Okay? I find it extreme. I also recognize that every individual has the right to do that. Everybody does. I find it extreme. Caitlin Clark said what she said. She said, I have earned everything. She also said, but as a white person, there's privilege. And then here are the people who say she wasn't saying that she has privilege. She was just saying there is privilege out there. Come on. These are the ones I got to turn off. Caitlin Clark was saying, I know I've earned everything, but I also have to acknowledge that I'm white and there's privilege. Put it together, white privilege. That's what she was saying. English teacher here for nearly 2 decades. Writer, journalist, and put the paragraph together, put the sentence together. That's what she was saying. So again, stop trying to change what she said because it makes you feel better about your support of her. Well, she wasn't really saying that. She was saying it. Here's the question. Can you deal with it? Can you handle her saying what she feels like saying, even if you feel she's wrong? I feel she's wrong about it because you cannot say that. And the people are already going, oh my goodness, Adrienne's about to say Caitlin said something wrong. Yeah, she's human and she's not God. Okay. So she says, and I love this about Caitlin because she's like, listen, I'm about to say some stuff, but don't get it twisted. She says, I have earned everything. Then she says, but there's been privilege. She's contradicting herself. So she's contradicting herself. And I'm going to say it. You did not earn everything you've accomplished. And at the same time, you got where you got because of privilege. You then go on to talk about the Black players in the league. And then you say how the league has been built by Black people. She says, so then I'm not quite sure where the privilege comes in because you're telling us that they basically own the league is what you're saying. And yet they've not been given credit for. Well, how did they? It doesn't make sense. Okay. But again, as I said in the live and I said other places, I can extend her grace. She is a grown woman. She's 22 years old and she's entitled to think whatever she wants to think, even if she's wrong. Okay. Or even if I think she's wrong, right? She's 22. Listen, the brain isn't even fully developed at 22. The brain is not, all the brain function is not even developed until mid to late 20s in women and 30 or later in men. Sorry, dudes. You guys are always kind of behind. Just kidding. Love you guys. Seriously, though. So she's still learning. She's still formulating her thinking. And she said in the article, as a rookie, I'm trying to navigate all that. I don't agree that you need to say, okay, I'm going to uplift the Black people. That in and of itself, I could get really deep into that because that in and of itself is part of the reason why some people in the league are going to resist. Because if you are uplifting, you're saying they need to come up to where you are and you're going to be the one to come and do it. And that's an issue and a problem with some people. And if you don't get it, then sit around and talk to some Black folks. They'll fill you in on how that is perceived. It's not her responsibility to do that. Then you got some people out here who are saying, well, Caitlin isn't saying anything she hasn't said all along. Come on, be real. Caitlin has always said, I agree, about highlighting. Everybody should have an opportunity to be highlighted. She's gone behind people's back, never said a word, never said, hey, I'm trying to get you guys spot bonuses, never did any of that, just did it because out of the kindness of her heart, out of something she said earlier in the article when she said, I just, this controversy, I'm not controversial, I just treat everybody with respect. And it's like, yes, Caitlin, stick with that. Everybody, you've already been saying it. So if you get on social media, which I try not to do, go through, sometimes people send me links, so I'll go take a look. It's a cesspool. I don't stay long, but you see comments out there right now. People are like, oh, it's too late now, Caitlin. Oh, you should have thought about that before. Oh, you should give back that award to the person it belongs to. Like, why are you saying it now? Caitlin has always been saying it. She just didn't do what would have been disrespectful, which was, hey, you black person. Hey, you darky. Hey, you blackie. I'm thankful for you. No, I mean, that sounds kind of weird, but that's what it would have been like. And that's why she doesn't need to do that. She has respected players as players. And that's her heart. And that's the way it should stay. Okay? But that's her heart. I'm not going to pinpoint you and pinpoint you and pinpoint you. All the black people come on this side. Let's lift you up. It doesn't work like that. And she doesn't need to put that on. And she'll get it. She's 22. I can extend grace. Some people are like, I'm out of here. I can't extend grace. But anyway, back to the people who say she's always been talking like this. No, she's always been saying that she loves the league. She grew up loving the league. She loved Maya Moore. She loved, she talked about Cheryl Swoosh. And the people she happened to mention, some of them were happened to be black people, but she wasn't picking them out because they were black. Just like nobody says, oh, look at that black Michael Jordan. He's just a great basketball player. And that's what Caitlin has been doing and trying to lift up everybody. So yes, she has always been doing that. But for those who say she's not saying anything different, I have never publicly heard Caitlin Clark say, I have got to help change the perception of black people, change the marketing opportunities. That she has not said. So if you're pretending that, I got to ask, why are you pretending that? Caitlin said something different. I believe it came from a good heart, even if I disagree with her. But let's not pretend she didn't say it. Stop trying to act like she has to say it the way you want her to say it. Otherwise, oh yeah, she's been saying it like that all along. Yeah, it's nothing new. She ain't saying, yes, she did say something different. She absolutely did. And she owned it. And when she was with Maria Taylor and she asked her about it, Caitlin didn't back down. She said what she said. And for those of you who insist she didn't really mean it, they took her word. She said, I love the article. It was amazing. So no more of trying to act like she didn't mean it. The problem is not with her. She seems to know what she believes. The problem is with the people who are on the outside looking at her and want to put her in a certain kind of box, or you're ticked off. And you have every right to be ticked off. You really do. As for me, I can extend grace. She's a great basketball player and she does more than basketball. And I can say, she's young. This is her mindset. This is what she believes. And even if she were 100 and believed this, I still got to say, she has a right to feel that way. Now, a lot of people are frustrated, honestly, because they don't want, they just want to watch. They came back to basketball, came to the first time or whatever, and they don't want the woke stuff. They don't want to hear about their privilege and her privilege. And they just, Caitlin, you're an amazing representative of your sport. You obviously have been raised well. You're incredibly talented and blessed. Let's just do that. Don't cave. And I say that too, because it'll never be enough. Just like I said in social media, why are you doing it now? Why didn't you do it before? It'll never be enough. So that's what some people are saying. And they don't want the wokeness. Seriously. As for me, I extend grace, but I got to be honest, right? I don't want to hear it either. So I don't want, every time Caitlin comes to the microphone, I don't want to hear questions about, oh, Caitlin, how are you uplifting the black people? Oh, yes, well, privilege. Nobody wants to hear that over and over. But it's not like, for the people who are bailing, it's not like she's been talking about this 5, 6, 7, 10 times. She did the interview. I'm sure they asked her a question. She answered the question. It was asked again at the Maria Taylor interview. And so she answered the question. Okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if she has to answer this question and a whole lot of other questions because she opened the door, or at least she walked through the door that was open. So there is that. But she said what she had to say and she owned it. I don't want to hear it 50 million times. And I hope that's not the case, as some other people feel. But some are not even giving her the benefit at all. I'm just done. And you got to look at yourself and say, why is that? but you're entitled to that, and she's entitled to that. But the extremes, they need to go. I'm just going to show a little bit of how she responded when she was asked about what was in the article. Here it is.
And even today, earlier today, Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift Black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes. And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day. And I know have my best interests at heart too. So I think my best skill is just blocking out the noise, and hopefully it continues to be, because with the way things are going and where the WNBA is going, you want that attention and you embrace it. And that's what makes this so fun.
Yeah. I'm just so thankful that you are the leader. Like, you are the chosen one in the future of the sport because of the allyship, the truth, and the willingness to stand and say things if you have to. But I also think the nuance that you used in that article, and I hope everyone gets a chance to read it, were.
Now, I just want to say here, if you are watching this video and you're like, well, where's the video of the interview you just introduced? If it's not there, it's because there was some kind of copyright violation perhaps, and YouTube said, hey, you got to get rid of it. So if it's not there, that's what happened. It was edited out, but the link is in the video description, and you probably have seen it anyway, but you can go to the link. Okay, so she said it, right? She said, you want people talking about it. For those of you who don't want to talk about it, you know, eyeballs are on. You want people talking about things. You prefer that it's not controversial and explosive, but that comes with it. One of the things I love about Caitlin is that nothing seems to jar her. She's not shaken by the question. Obviously, she expected the question, and she handled it without flinching, right? So, I mean, she did smile a little bit. A body language expert might read a little bit of that. I don't know, but yeah, absolutely comfortable. And I did not feel, as some people felt, that she was apologizing overtly for her whiteness. She says, I'm very comfortable in my own skin, but she has her truth. I never liked that expression, my truth. There is just truth. But anyway, you're getting into my head and my thoughts. But she's basically saying, I spoke it as I see it. And so I don't, like I said, I don't agree with that tactic at all, but she does. And you heard her say it. The article was amazing. It was great. So for those of you who somehow felt better because you felt that she didn't really mean it and that they toyed with her words and all that, she's endorsing the article. Okay. She's endorsing it. So you need to say, okay, that's what Caitlin said. That is what Caitlin means at this moment. And so now, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to say she's got the right to? Or are you going to pack your bags and go? Or are you going to say nobody talk about it? She's not ashamed of it, and she's not 2 years old. So we can talk about it, right? And we are. There's a lot in there. And there's a lot more to unpack. I believe that there's a lot to unpack for every content creator who's been covering some of the things in that article that went on in this league. Not even talking about the privilege and the uplifting and all that stuff, uplifting Black people. I mean, just various and sundry things she gave very strong opinions on. And I'm extending an invitation to content creators who have been covering Caitlin Clark, pro Caitlin Clark, not talking about inviting people who have been denigrating her and all the other stuff. Not talking about that. Maybe there will be a time for that, to have a reasonable conversation for people who don't like Caitlin Clark and just communicate. But I'm talking about people who've covered Caitlin Clark. I'm extending an invitation because I think there's some things we should talk about. And so if you are interested, the email, send me an email. Email address, of course, is in the channel description. Send me an email and we can see if we can set something up, because I would like a panel of people and I'd like to unpack some stuff because we've been covering. That's why I said we have to talk about this. We've been covering Caitlin Clark all along. It's not going to be crickets now. All right, so there you have it. I hope to get some emails from some folks. I'm inviting you on this platform, on the Adrienne Ross Show, and maybe we can evaluate, maybe reevaluate some stuff. Should be interesting. All right. Leave your comments in the comment section, guys. Whatever you do, if you know me at all, I want you to be respectful. I don't want you coming up in here just cutting people up and tearing them up and all this, that we don't need that. Why anyway? We're not snowflakes. Neither is Caitlin. And we are adults who can have meaningful conversations. Nobody has to agree with everything Caitlin says. And it's not your job to try to make sure they do. It just is that way. And some people are agreeing with her, and they have that right too. But I'm going to tell it as I see it. I disagree with the perspective she has on this, but I agree with her ability to have it, with her right to have it, I should say. And I'm going to talk about it. So you can, spare me the comments that say, don't talk about it. Nah, you are at the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. And so we talk. All right. Once again, leave your comments. If you've not subscribed to the channel, what you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.